And I don't think I told you this story about my Pantherina experience. I don't want to be redundant here, but I had a heroic experience on the Amanita Pantherina. And that one was very, uh, I had repetitive motion syndrome. And I was living up in the mountains. I had freeze-dried Amanita Pantherina. I knew it didn't have muscarine. I'd eaten muscaria. I foamed a lot. It wasn't that much fun. So I knew Pantherina was 4 to 5 times more potent. So I took the freeze-dried specimens from the herbarium, from the college I was working at. I was living underneath a volcano up in Darrington, Washington, and I was with my friend Dave, and he had his smaller body weight, so we made an omelet. Let's try Pantherina, and he trusted me. Note to self, note to others. And so we ate the Pantherina in an omelet, and I cut the omelet bigger for me because I'm bigger body weight than him. And we ate the mushrooms like at 10 o'clock in the morning, in an omelet. They were delicious. And just across the river was the Squire Creek campground. And it's where the tourists come up and their Winnebagos and, campers and their families and stuff. And we're long-haired hippies. And I said, just on the other side there is this hill that we can get up on the hillside. It's an incredible view of the valley, the snow-capped volcano, just a great vista. Let's go there. So we, for some reason, it's so close, but we drove my car like, 1,000 feet to this campground, went over the bridge, over this little river, and we parked, just on the outside of the campground, right where all the campers are. And so we walked past, all these tourists and their families, and we went up on the hill, and then we're sitting up on the hill and waiting for the mushrooms to come on in like an hour. Nothing, no experience. Like, what's going on? And this is very typical, by the way. This is characteristic. Amanita muscaria and Pantherina take a long time before the onset of first symptoms. And then we're up on the hill, and I'm looking out at the horizon, beautiful view, and suddenly, what was that? This wave came through our visual field, like this invisible wave. And I said, did you feel that? And he goes, yeah, I felt that too. And we're like, whoa, we're feeling the same thing. And then, and so our visual field started getting distorted, and they start coming on so fast. We're going, holy shit, we gotta get out of here. This is coming on too fast. Let's go back home and because it's more intense. So we walk back through, and I have a Rolleiflex camera. I've got a 35 millimeter, been a photographer all my life. And then we're walking through the backside of the campground, and there's all these kids and families and Winnebagos and camper vans. And then I remember this one Winnebago. It was like the longest Winnebago in the universe. Every time I was walking, it was a Winnebago of no end. I couldn't get past this one Winnebago. I kept on walking. My friend, and then finally we got past this Winnebago. It seemed like it took forever. And there's my car. And for some friggin' reason, I locked the door. And I have my keys. And I looked at the keyhole of the door, and I looked at my keys, and I went, missed that one. Did it again. Missed that one. Just that. Me and my friend goes, everything okay, Paul? He goes, everything's fine. Just give me some time. And then, after I don't know how many times, magically, just by the fact that I tried so many times, I think it just slipped into the lock and unlocked the door. And so, okay, so I sit in the car, and now I have to put it in the ignition. And I'm going, boom. Oh no, boom. My friend goes, maybe you shouldn't drive. Yeah. Good advice. Maybe I shouldn't drive. So there's no way. I couldn't. It was getting more and more intense. It was not responsible to drive. So absolutely the right decision not to drive. So then I got out of the car, and the camera was on my lap. And then I got out of my car, and meanwhile, a group of people started gathering because we were there for a long time, trying to get into the car, and then and so these people got kind of curious. And Dave goes, some people over there are kind of gathering, Paul, looking at us. And I didn't want to look at them. And so I get out of the car, and my camera falls, and it hits the ground. I go, oh shit, I just dropped my Rolleiflex camera. And then I picked up the camera, and I'm going, wow, I just dropped my Rolleiflex camera. I drop it again.
Oh no.
And I pick it up. I go, did I just drop my Rolleiflex camera? Dropped it again. Repetitive motion syndrome. I picked up that camera and dropped it dozens and dozens of times.
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, the cluster of people got larger. Parents were holding their children close to them, saying, we don't know what's going on here, but it's getting weird over there. So pretty soon I had a very large group of these campers that were all watching us, keeping their distance. And I had this repetitive motion syndrome of dropping and dropping and dropping. And so finally, we had the staccato pace. The timeline of the day got broken up. So I had morning when we ate, then I had evening, then I had early afternoon, and then I had early morning, then I had late afternoon, then I had evening. The whole thread of time was disintegrated, and scrambled. And so then we walked, and I lost Dave. Dave, I figured, Dave, you're on your own, buddy. I got enough to deal with here. And so we walked over this bridge, and we got to my place, and I got to my house, and I had a combination lock on the door. I went,
Oh my God.
the last thing I need is another. So I spun that combination lock, and I couldn't get it open, and then I went into convulsions, and they felt good. So I'm convulsing on the ground, and spiking like this, and every time I convulsed, right afterwards, it actually felt good. And so, like, I'm convulsing, but it seems to be helping me. So I convulsed and, thrashing on the ground. Don't know where it happened today. And so I go back to the lock, and I spun it, and it's magically the lock opened up. And then I fell into bed. And then I had this amazing rush of Einsteinian thoughts. The thoughts were just so profound. I go, oh my gosh, if I could write these down, these are just like so important, conclusions of great mysteries of the universe. I have this at my hand. And just before I came to the object of the sentence, I would have a prepositional or adverbial phrase, and then I get a tangent.
Oh no.
And I saw death then as being perpetual tangents that never gave you the satisfaction of having completed a thought. So I went down this rabbit hole of constantly forks in my thinking, and then I blacked out, and then at the end of the day, the sunlight came through. The 12-hour experience is a long experience, and so there's no summertime. Then at the very